My friend, have you ever been in a room full of people, the air thick with laughter and chatter, and suddenly it's like the sound fades away and you can see, really see. It's a wild feeling, right? It's not just about what people are saying. It's like you've been given a backstage pass to their souls. You see the smile that doesn't quite reach the eyes, the confident posture that's holding back a storm of insecurity, the carefully rehearsed stories that act as a shield for a fragile heart. It's a moment of piercing clarity, and let me tell you, you are not just imagining things. This feeling, this strange and powerful perception, is a sign that something profound is happening within you. It's an awakening. You're starting to tune into a deeper frequency, to understand the hidden language of the universe that plays out in every single human interaction. If you know what I'm talking about, if you've ever felt like you're seeing the truth behind the performance, do me a favor and just write, "I am awakening" in the comments. I want you to know you're not alone on this journey. And hey, if this touches you, give it a like, subscribe, and maybe share it with someone else who's starting to see beyond the veil too. I remember this one morning. I was sitting in a little coffee shop, just watching the world go by. The air smelled of dark roast coffee and steamed milk. It was the usual morning ballet people rushing, the clatter of ceramic cups, the low hum of conversations. But that day, I saw it differently. I saw this woman, probably a lawyer or a CEO, dressed in a suit so sharp it could cut glass. The way she ordered her coffee, a triple shot of espresso, no sugar, was like a military command. Her fingers were a blur on her phone, a frantic dance against a clock only she could see. She was a warrior, my friend, armored up for the day's battles. And then I saw her smile at the kid behind the counter. It was brilliant, like a flash of lightning. But the second she turned away, believing no one was looking, that light just switched off. Her face settled into this mask of profound exhaustion. And I realized she wasn't just getting coffee. She was putting on her spiritual armor, a shield forged in a world that tells us we always have to be strong. It was a silent, heartbreaking performance. And in that moment, I knew I had been given a divine gift to see the real story. My gaze drifted over to a corner table. There was this man, laughing his head off at a joke his friend told. But something was off. You know what I mean, right? The laugh was just a little too loud. It lasted a beat too long. It wasn't the sound of pure joy. It was the sound of a performance. As he laughed, his eyes weren't sparkling with mirth. They were scanning the room, darting around like a trapped bird looking for an open window. It was a desperate, silent plea for an escape route from his own conversation. He had built this beautiful, gilded cage of laughter around himself, and I could see he was a prisoner inside it. He was a soul crying out for a real connection, but absolutely terrified of the vulnerability it would require. That, my friend, is the secret language of the universe. It's the truth that flows beneath all the noise, and your intuition, that quiet whisper from your higher self, already knows how to speak it. It's a dormant power inside you, just waiting for you to awaken and trust what you feel. Then, my eyes found someone by the window, completely lost in the hypnotic glow of their phone. Their thumb moved in a steady, mechanical rhythm, up and down, scrolling through an endless river of images. It wasn't just a way to pass the time. It was a modern-day ritual, a desperate prayer for connection in an age of isolation. They paused for a moment, not to think, but to perfectly arrange a picture of their avocado toast and craft a witty caption. In that instant, a simple, mundane act of eating breakfast was transformed into a piece of performance art, broadcast to 1,000 unseen judges. What was I really seeing? Most people would just see a typical morning, but through my newly opened eyes, I saw a theater of souls. Every single person was wearing a mask, a persona so carefully constructed, so deeply embedded, that I wondered if they even remembered the true, beautiful face that lay hidden beneath. I read this old thinker once, Nietzsche, a guy who wasn't afraid to stare into the abyss of what it means to be human. He would have understood that coffee shop perfectly. He knew that these everyday places are sacred stages where our deepest fears and longings play out in the silent spaces between our heartbeats. He could see the truth in a laugh that's too loud, in shoulders that are held too tight, in the flicker of an eye that betrays a universe of unspoken pain. And the thing is, you have this ability too. It lives in your soul, in those moments when your gut tells you a story isn't quite right, when someone's words are vibrating at one frequency but their energy is screaming something else entirely. You felt it. But here's the beautiful and terrifying part of this awakening. Once you start seeing the masks, you can never, ever unsee them. It's a turning point. It's not about becoming a mind reader or getting some kind of superpower. It's about waking up to the silent, constant communication that's always happening around you. It's this ancient dance between our need for protection and our soul's deep yearning for vulnerability. It's the universal patterns of fear and longing that drive almost everything we do, in ways most of us never even realize. And once you see it, once you understand how the unhealed wounds from our childhood become the ghosts that haunt our adult relationships, how our fear often wears the disguise of confidence, and how the loudest displays of virtue can hide the deepest canyons of shame, well, the world becomes both infinitely more complex and surprisingly predictable. It's a wild paradox, isn't it? You'll find yourself in a conversation, maybe just having dinner with a friend, and you'll notice how they artfully sidestep certain topics, navigating around them like a ship avoiding hidden rocks. And in that moment, you will feel, with an unspeakable certainty, exactly where their pain is buried, even though they've never said a word. This is both the divine gift and the heavy burden of true sight. You start seeing people not as the characters they play, but as the scared, hopeful, desperately searching souls they truly are beneath it all. And let me tell you, this skill will change every single relationship you have. It's not some party trick. This is an immersion into the hidden curriculum of human nature, the one that truly dictates the rhythm of your life. We're about to journey through 3 sacred realms of understanding together. Each one builds on the last, and each one will peel back another layer of the truth that so many of us spend our whole lives running from. We have to start in the theater of everyday deception, where we'll explore why words, the very things we're taught to trust, are often the least reliable guides to what's really going on. You'll learn to read the real story, the one told in a sudden glance, a tense silence, or the electric charge in the space between sentences. After that, we can venture even deeper into the psychology of the masks we all wear and the mirrors we hold up to each other. We'll explore how our own patterns reveal our most guarded secrets. And this is a big one, why the things that drive us crazy in other people are often just reflections of the battles we're fighting inside ourselves. And finally, we will arrive at an understanding so profound it will change not just how you see others, but how you see yourself. It's the recognition that we are all both the author and the victim of our own life story, carrying both our sacred wounds and the unspoken hope that, one day, we will feel safe enough to finally heal them. By the time you've walked this path, you won't just know how to read people. You'll see through the grand illusion that keeps us feeling so alone and misunderstood. You'll be able to feel that thread of common humanity that connects us all beneath the masks. And, most importantly, you'll start to see your own patterns with the same gentle clarity and deep compassion you offer to others. And my friend, the world desperately needs more people like that. It needs people who can respond with wisdom instead of reacting with fear. People who can see the story behind the behavior and offer healing to the need beneath the pattern. People who understand that behind every so-called difficult person is a frightened inner child who learned, long ago, that they needed armor just to survive. So, are you ready? Are you ready to see what's really happening in that coffee shop, in your office, around your dinner table, and in your own mirror? Are you prepared for the profound responsibility and the incredible freedom that comes with understanding this secret language of the soul? If you are, then let's take this first step together. This is where every interaction becomes a chance for divine connection, and every single person you meet becomes a teacher in the sacred art of being human. Now, let's talk about the great deception and why the words people use are often the last place you should look for the truth. Since we were kids, we've been taught that language is how we connect, how we express who we are. But honestly, I've learned that's only half the story. As that wise old soul Nietzsche pointed out, we have to be careful not to be fooled by this elaborate performance. Most of the time, people aren't speaking from a place of pure, honest truth. They're speaking from a place of survival. Their words are a shield, a carefully constructed piece of armor designed to protect their ego and hide their deepest fears, fears they might not even be aware of themselves. What you see on the surface isn't the person. It's the fortress they've built around themselves over a lifetime. A fortress built from all the times they learned it wasn't safe to be vulnerable. Think about that person you know who is just overwhelmingly kind. The one who always puts everyone else first and can never seem to say no. On the outside, it looks like pure, selfless goodness. But if you look with a gentle heart, you might see something else. You might see a soul who is terrified of rejection. Someone who learned in their childhood that love wasn't a gift, but something that had to be earned through constant service. Their kindness isn't a lie, not at all, but it's not the whole story. It's a survival strategy, a way of being that they believe will keep them safe and loved. Or what about the person who projects that unshakable strength? The one who never admits they're wrong, never shows a moment of weakness, and always seems to have everything under perfect control. Behind that ironclad facade, I can almost guarantee you there's someone who is feeling like they're crumbling inside, holding their breath, and desperately hoping no one sees the cracks in their foundation. They learned a long time ago that vulnerability was dangerous, that showing weakness was an invitation for attack. So, they built these massive walls around their heart, walls so thick and so high that sometimes I think they forget that the real, tender human being is still living inside. And this is the part that's so fascinating and a little bit heartbreaking. Most people aren't doing this on purpose. They're not malicious actors trying to deceive you. They're unconscious performers in a play they never chose, acting out scripts that were handed to them by their family, their culture, their first heartbreaks, their greatest joys. Every smile, every opinion, even the very pitch of their voice has been shaped and molded by what they learned would keep them safe. That's why I say they aren't hiding from you. They are hiding from themselves. They've been wearing their masks for so long, it's become their second skin. They've almost forgotten the feel of their own true face. Nietzsche said, "Every profound spirit needs a mask." He wasn't judging, he was giving a warning. Don't mistake the mask for the soul beneath it. The mask is a necessary tool for navigating this world, but it is never the whole truth. And here's the secret. We are all constantly leaking our authentic truth, not in the words we choose, but in the tiny, involuntary cracks in our performance. You have to learn to watch for them. Watch for the way someone's gaze flickers away for just a moment too long. Listen for the laugh that doesn't carry the vibration of real joy. Notice when someone abruptly changes the subject right, when a conversation starts to feel deep and meaningful. These aren't random quirks. These are little windows into the soul, glimpses of the real person who is fighting to stay hidden just beneath the surface. And that topic, the one that makes them squirm or change the subject, that's your clue. That's almost always where their deepest fears and most powerful longings are buried. Let's talk more about that next time, because what we resent in others is often a mirror to our own soul.